Once upon a time, in a remote village nestled among the mist-covered mountains of the east, there lived a wise old man. His face was etched with the lines of countless years, and his eyes held the depths of ancient wisdom. The villagers revered him as their spiritual guide, seeking his counsel in times of joy and sorrow. One day, a curious young villager approached the wise man and asked, "Master, how is it that you remain so serene, unaffected by the storms of life that buffet the rest of us?" The old man smiled kindly and beckoned the young villager to sit beside him. He began to weave a tale that would illuminate the power of a Stoic mind's indifference. In a distant land, there was once a powerful emperor who ruled with an iron fist. He possessed vast wealth and limitless authority, but he was plagued by a relentless desire for more. No treasure, no kingdom, no accolade was ever enough to quench his insatiable thirst for power and possessions. One day, he heard of a legendary philosopher who resided on a solitary mountain. This philosopher was said to possess the secret to unshakable inner peace and contentment. Determined to acquire this secret, the emperor set out on a perilous journey to meet the sage. After weeks of arduous travel, the emperor finally reached the philosopher's humble abode. He was surprised to find the philosopher living in a modest cottage, surrounded by the beauty of nature. The sage welcomed the emperor with warmth and simplicity. "I have heard that you possess the key to true happiness," the emperor said. "Please, share your wisdom with me." The philosopher nodded and led the emperor to a small garden filled with vibrant flowers. He plucked a single rose and handed it to the emperor. "Hold this rose," he said, "but do not grasp it tightly." The emperor obeyed, holding the delicate rose with a gentle touch. The philosopher continued, "Now, imagine that this rose represents all that you desire in life: power, wealth, and possessions. The tighter you grasp it, the more you will crush its beauty and fragrance." The emperor frowned, for he had expected to hear profound words of wisdom. But the philosopher's message was simple and perplexing. Nonetheless, he resolved to understand the lesson and stayed with the sage for many days. As the days turned into weeks, the emperor's attitude began to change. He observed how the philosopher lived a life of simplicity, finding joy in the smallest of things: the song of a bird, the rustle of leaves in the wind, and the warmth of the morning sun. The philosopher spoke of the impermanence of all things, how attachments to material possessions and worldly power brought only fleeting happiness. Slowly, the emperor's grip on the rose of desire began to loosen. He realized that his insatiable cravings had kept him trapped in a cycle of suffering. With each passing day, the philosopher's teachings seeped into the emperor's heart, replacing his desires with contentment. One morning, as the emperor gazed at the rose in his hand, he noticed that it had bloomed more brilliantly than ever before. Its fragrance filled the air, and he understood the profound truth the philosopher had shared. True happiness came not from the pursuit of endless desires, but from the freedom of letting go. Filled with gratitude, the emperor bowed to the philosopher and said, "I came seeking power and possessions, but you have given me something far greater: the power to free myself from the chains of desire. I will no longer be a slave to my ambitions. Instead, I will seek happiness in the simple joys of life and share this wisdom with my people." And so, the emperor returned to his kingdom with a heart transformed by the power of a Stoic mind's indifference. He ruled with compassion and wisdom, bringing prosperity and harmony to his land. His people, inspired by his example, learned to find contentment in the present moment and live with gratitude for what they had. The sage on the solitary mountain continued to tend to his garden of roses, knowing that his simple teachings had the power to transform even the most powerful hearts. And the emperor, once consumed by insatiable desires, had become a beacon of light, illuminating the path to true happiness for all who sought it. The wise old man concluded his story, and the young villager sat in deep contemplation. He realized that the power of a Stoic mind's indifference lay not in indifference to life's joys, but in the freedom from the chains of insatiable desires. With newfound clarity, he thanked the wise old man for the invaluable lesson and left, determined to live a life guided by the wisdom of the story. As the young villager walked away, he understood that true happiness could only be found in the present moment, in embracing life with an open heart, and in letting go of the relentless pursuit of more. The power of a Stoic mind's indifference was not a cold detachment from life, but a warm embrace of its beauty and impermanence. And with this understanding, the young villager embarked on a journey of self-discovery, carrying the timeless wisdom of the story with him, ready to inspire others on their own paths to inner peace and contentment.